Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Amy. I'm the Education Manager here at Childnet, and I am absolutely thrilled to be opening this webinar to support you as teachers and educators. This is the first in a whole series that we expect to be hosting over the next few months. I'm also joined by my colleague Alison, who is also part of the education team here at Childnet, and you'll be hearing more from her a little later on. We are also really lucky to be joined by one of our colleagues from one of our partner organisations, SWGFL, and in particular their fantastic helpline, the Professionals Online Safety Helpline. So we'll be hearing from Georgia towards the end of today's session. So let's start with a brief introduction to who Childnet are. We are an online safety charity whose main aim is to make the internet a great and safe space for all children and young people. We do this in a number of ways. So the education team, including Alison and I, we travel to schools around the country working directly with children aged 3 to 18 years old, parents, carers and professionals like yourselves around online safety. We also develop a range of free educational resources that are available on our website to support you in delivering online safety messages in your setting. Childnet also works with the government and the internet industry to encourage and advise them in how they can work to help keep young people safe online as well. Now, I've already mentioned our partnership with SWGFL. This is because at Childnet, we are also a part of the UK Safer Internet Centre. This is a partnership between 3 leading online safety organisations, ourselves, SWGFL and the Internet Watch Foundation. Through the partnership, we offer a whole host of resources, services and events like this webinar. We also coordinate Safer Internet Day here in the UK. And whilst SWGFL hosts a number of really fantastic helplines, which you'll hear more about later on, the Internet Watch Foundation operates a vital hotline service as part of their work, specifically removing child sexual abuse imagery from the internet, allowing members of the public to report this content if they see it. I think that is probably enough of an introduction now, so let's get started. Although I will just take this moment to let you know that the Q&A feature is open and we're going to be online for 15 minutes at the end of today's 30-minute session to answer any additional questions you may have. So please do submit your questions there. For now, I'm going to hand over to Alison, who is going to start us off with the first of 4 practical top tips to help you embed online safety messaging in your setting.
Hi everyone, as you just heard from Amy, my name's Alison and we're going to jump straight in with something that is very close to our hearts here at Childnet. We know that the internet is a space that is always changing and young people are often at the forefront of those changes, sometimes using new apps and playing new games before we as adults even realise that they exist. This is just one of the many reasons why we are always advocating for the importance of youth voice and giving all children and young people the opportunity to share about their online experiences. This is why our first top tip is find ways to open up communication about young people's lives online in your setting. Having conversations about your learners' online lives is a great way to ensure that your online safety provision is relevant and appropriate to their needs. Opening up communication can be as simple as asking questions like, did you go online this weekend? Or what do you like doing online? If you have learners who might be more reluctant to talk about their own experiences, it can be helpful to keep this conversation more general by asking questions like, what do people your age think of this app? This can help learners express ideas without feeling like they're sharing personal experiences and still gives you useful insight into what they're doing online. You could also use prompts or run quick activities such as putting up app logos during registration and asking for your learners' ideas about that app. For example, we know that currently TikTok is an extremely popular app with children and young people. On the screen here, you can see an example of a prompt slide using the TikTok logo, as well as some potential discussion questions that could be used to generate and support conversation. Another potential prompt that you could use to open up discussion about the online world is current news stories or trends. Here, we have taken a recent online safety headline and created some discussion prompts around it. This is a great way to gain insight into young people's ideas and hear their thoughts about current online issues. While using prompts is a great way to generate discussion and open up communication with your learners, it is important that when choosing them, you carefully consider if they are appropriate or, for example, if there is potential for the prompt to unintentionally increase awareness of a harmful or upsetting online trend which is not yet widely known about. This advice comes off the back of the Department for Education's specific guidance around online challenges, which is also useful to bear in mind when discussing online trends more generally. Online challenges are types of content that encourage viewers to engage in a specific behaviour, be that positive or negative, safe or unsafe. The advice I'm going to share now is that if you become aware of a specific online challenge, it is really important that wherever possible, you do not name this challenge with children or in any communication you have with parents and carers. This is because it can lead to an inadvertent increase in awareness, for example, by young people seeking out something they may not have previously seen or engaged with. In place of this, the recommended procedure is to give broader, more general online safety messages. So if we return to those prompts, you might share with learners, choosing an app that you know they are using or have heard them talk about could work well, but a logo for an app that is above their age range, has specific safeguarding concerns, or potentially is not well known by your learners is not recommended. Of course, if at any point a child asks you about a specific challenge, app, or type of content they name it with you, it's absolutely okay and in fact important to address that with them directly. Another thing to remember about opening up communication is that not every conversation about life online needs to be an online safety lesson. For example, when having conversations about young people's online lives, it can be useful to reflect on whether it is a good time to deliver online safety messages, or whether that could inadvertently lead to them withdrawing or avoiding sharing with you in the future. Conversations with learners that centre around the things they are excited about and their positive experiences are important in creating a whole school culture of talking openly about and celebrating life online. Bringing in online safety every time a learner talks about something they enjoy doing online can inadvertently lead to them closing off communication or feeling unheard or misunderstood. That being said, if a child expresses something that concerns you, please do follow your school's safeguarding procedures, because first and foremost, online safety is a safeguarding issue. As well as creating space for conversations between staff and learners in your setting, it can be great to empower young people to hold these conversations and share these messages amongst themselves. Using peer-to-peer education programs like the Childnet Digital Leaders Programme can also be a powerful tool to get learners sharing key online safety advice. Through a series of interactive online modules and activities, Childnet Digital Leaders are given the skills and knowledge needed to support themselves and subsequently other young people in navigating the online world safely. Starting conversations about life online is so important to your online safety practice and something we really believe in here at the UK Safer Internet Centre. It was also the theme for Safer Internet Day 2023 earlier this year. Our Safer Internet Day research showed that 30% of 8 to 17-year-olds feel that online safety lessons don't allow them to talk about online issues they are worried about. On the UK Safer Internet Centre website, you can find a range of activities and resources for different age groups that were originally created for Safer Internet Day and are specifically designed to help you open up dialogue about life online and maintain these conversations with your learners. Two of my favourite activities are shown on the screen. One is ABC, How Well Do You Know Me, which was designed for 7 to 11-year-olds. This activity is a game designed to get learners thinking and talking about a range of different online scenarios and to predict what their partner or group might do in each situation. The second activity is for older learners and shows a quote from one of our youth representatives, which acts as a prompt for further discussion with some useful prompt questions provided below to help add depth to the conversation. Ultimately, open and honest communication about life online is going to help you to create and deliver the most relevant safety messages for your learning.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alison. So the idea here is that once you and your colleagues have a really good steer on what your learners are experiencing online through those conversations, you're in a strong position to use that to shape your online safety input. Now, everyone in the Childnet team comes from an education background and we know how valuable your time is, which is why we always recommend making use of some of the fantastic resources and materials readily available to you. A great place to start is by taking a look at the UK Council for Internet Safety's Education for a Connected World document. This is a framework recommended by the Department for Education that divides online safety into 8 areas and lays out what learners should know about different online safety topics in learning objective style statements. It helpfully divides the statements for the different ages and stages from 4 to 18 years old. Now, it is a large document, but it's actually very easy to navigate through clickable tabs, and it can be great for curriculum planning, as well as just getting to grips with what young people of different ages might be expected to know in relation to online safety. Additionally, thanks to some great work by SWGFL, this framework is fantastically resourced. You can find suggested activities and discussion questions mapped against each of the statements in Education for a Connected World through the incredible Project Evolve. This huge set of resources is completely free to use, although each school will need to register to access them. I have also recently been getting to grips with their new knowledge mapping tool, which uses simple scenarios like the one you can see on the screen to help you assess your learners' understanding and kind of determine whether it's secure, emerging or developing, and then potentially demonstrate progression that they make through your online safety provision. Again, that tool is free to use once your school is registered. Of course, finding time to build in discrete online safety lessons can be challenging. Whether you're in a primary or a secondary setting, we know your curriculum and your responsibilities are probably very full. For some of you, online safety may already be covered in lessons as part of your subject specialism or role. For example, if you teach something like computing, PSHE or RSE. But we do know that a whole school approach is the most effective way to continually re-emphasize important online safety messages. This is why our next top tip is to find opportunities to embed online safety messages across different subjects. So let's share some examples of how this might work in practice. So I used to work in year 5. I have many memories of helping children grapple with the concept of place value in maths. One way we can embed online safety into a place value lesson could be using large numbers, which are actually taken from the number of followers some of their favourite YouTubers or content creators have online. Once you've discussed the size and place value of the digits, why not have a 1 or 2 minute conversation about what someone might need to think about if they're sharing content with this number of people online? Or actually what we all need to think about when we're sharing online. Similarly, if you work with older pupils or teenagers, why not get them to create social media profiles for characters in the text you study in English or historical figures that they're studying? Again, this could be supplemented by a short conversation about what we need to consider when sharing on social media, or even how our online persona could be different from our offline identity. Would the people you're learning about want to have portrayed themselves in a particular way online? And how does this compare to how influencers or other internet celebrities might use their platforms today? Hopefully you get the idea, but for lots more subject-specific suggestions, head to childnet.com/embedding to access our handy resources for primary and secondary, full of quick activity ideas, just like the ones I've just mentioned. Whilst you are on the Childnet website, there are lots of other free and accessible online safety resources available to you. Start by browsing our resources tab. You can see that at the top. You can filter by audience, topic, or resource type. And we have launched resources in the last year to support SEND learners, LGBTQ+ children and young people, and we have other resources updated regularly, such as our presentation slides for delivering online safety training in your own setting. I'll now hand over to Alison for tip number 3.
Thanks, Amy. Tip number 3 is to show learners that your school recognises the value of online world by finding opportunities to emphasise online safety outside of lessons. This could happen in lots of different ways. You could create displays on a range of online safety topics, or by highlighting your own learners' top online safety tips. Alternatively, regular assemblies on online safety issues, or choosing an online safety discussion question of the week for use in form time or registration time can help ensure it's a topic that stays on everyone's radar. Online safety messages can also be brought into whole school celebrations and events, such as Anti-Bullying Week and Mental Health Awareness Week. One fantastic way to promote online safety in your setting is by supporting Safer Internet Day, which is a global campaign celebrated in over 100 different countries every year. The next Safer Internet Day will be celebrated on the Tuesday, the 6th of February 2024. In previous years, the Safer Internet Day campaign has reached 50% of children and young people in the UK and is a great way to highlight key online safety messages around a yearly theme, as well as promoting conversations about life online and online safety more generally. Every year, educational resources are produced for children aged between 3 and 18. Assemblies are provided to support school celebrations, top tips and advice is written for parents and carers, and much more. We will be sharing exciting news about Safer Internet Day 2024 campaign in the next week or so, and resources are due to be launched in a few months. So keep your eyes peeled and subscribe to the UK Safer Internet Centre newsletter for all the latest updates. We'll also be hosting a webinar as a part of this series, which explains all things Safer Internet Day. Speaking of exciting updates, we can also share that the Childnet film competition has just launched this week. This is a fantastic opportunity for all schools and youth groups that can strengthen your online safety provision at the same time as being a unique chance for your learners to develop their skills in media, drama and art. Now in its 15th year, the Childnet film competition invites young people aged 7 to 18 across the UK to create a short film on a specific online safety theme each year. Finalists are invited to an awards event in London where they get to see their film on the big screen, win filmmaking prizes and meet the expert judges. The film competition is an incredible opportunity that encourages learners to express their thoughts and ideas about life online creatively and amplifies their voices and messages about online safety. As you can see, there are plenty of different ways that you can promote online safety outside of lessons throughout the year. By bringing online safety conversations out of the classroom, you can help to create a school culture where life online is talked about openly and honestly.
Okay, it's back across to me and we are going on to our final top tip, which is a really important one. It probably goes without saying, but all staff, especially as part of our safeguarding responsibilities, need to be working to stay up to date by listening out for and being aware of new online trends and issues that emerge both in your setting and in the wider online world. You might hear about online trends from learners through newsletters or CPD content that you engage with, or even from your own internet use. For this part of the webinar, we're going to briefly update you on a few of the emerging trends that we have been hearing about in our work at the UK Safer Internet Centre. These are primarily safeguarding issues, and they're not likely to be topics you'll address directly with learners in this way, but we want you to understand some of the potential harms young people can be exposed to, as they really show the importance of building learners' digital resilience and embedding those online safety messages throughout your work. There is just a content warning here. Some of these issues are distressing, and if you are watching in the company of children, may not be suitable. We are recording this session, so if you need to mute for the next 5 minutes and catch up later, we'll be sharing the recording on our social media channels. Okay, so the first trending issue is currently being described as sextortion, although the language used to describe this behaviour is still evolving. This is a form of blackmail, currently being reported particularly as being experienced by teenage boys, although it can happen to anyone. The targeted young person could be pressured, asking for money or potentially other personal information, including bank details or access to a bank account, with the threat that if they do not agree to share them, the criminal involved will release intimate images, that's typically nude images of them, or share those images with their immediate friends and family. Sometimes these images have been gained through catfishing or grooming, where the criminals have built a relationship through pretending to be someone else, establishing that trust and leading to victims sharing intimate content with them willingly. Or sometimes these images are taken without the person's knowledge, including through hacking. And sometimes, of course, the images don't exist at all. Simply the possibility of someone having access can be enough to scare a young person into responding to the threats. There is a lot of work being done in this space, and you can subscribe to the UK Safer Internet Centre newsletter to hear about new resources and guidance as they become available. For example, the Internet Watch Foundation have recently published help and support for a range of audiences on responding to this issue. You can see the URL on the screen. Advice includes stopping all contact with the people involved, reporting it to the police, and using online reporting tools. For young people, this would include the report remove tool provided by Childline and the IWF, which has a kind of reporting feature, but also has lots of support and guidance built in. Most importantly, we want young people to know they are not to blame if they find themselves in this situation, and support is available. The second issue is one that's been getting a lot of attention recently, and that's AI, or artificial intelligence. There's been a huge number of developments in AI technology recently, and it continues to evolve and change with lots of opportunities for young people and adults alike, but also, of course, potential challenges, including identifying content created by AI, potential exacerbation of issues like misinformation, potential for incorrect or harmful advice being shared through AI, and even illegal content and imagery being generated using AI. We also know many companies are beginning to embed AI into their products and services. For example, Snapchat launched their My AI feature, allowing users to interact with AI through the messaging section of the app. Because AI is developing rapidly and constantly, we know it can feel overwhelming and sometimes difficult to stay on top of. The good news is that SWGFL have recently launched their fantastic Artificial Intelligence and Online Safety Hub on their website. Again, you can see the link on the slide, just full of useful advice, videos, and specific guidance and considerations for schools on the use of AI. Okay, so finally, we wanted to talk to you about a trend identified by the Internet Watch Foundation in their work removing child sexual abuse material from the internet. They are warning about a continued increase in the discovery of what is, for now, best being described as coerced, self-generated child sexual abuse imagery. Although, again, the most appropriate language to use in this context is evolving, with a potential shift away from the language which emphasises the role of a young person in self-generating such content. This is because what we're really talking about here is an adult, a criminal, contacting a child and coercing them to undress or engage in harmful sexual behaviour on camera, sometimes via live stream, sometimes in photos. This imagery is captured or recorded and often then shared more widely. In the content that the IWF have been removing, they have seen a 129% increase in this type of imagery, showing 7 to 10-year-olds from 2021 to 2022. This imagery has also been found of younger children as well. And 11 to 13-year-olds represent the biggest amount of self-generated imagery being found. We know this is an incredibly worrying trend, which is both harmful and upsetting and traumatic for any young people who fall victim to it. It also really highlights the importance of all of us as professionals remaining vigilant to any worrying stories or comments we hear from the young people we work with, and serves as a reminder why we describe online safety as a safeguarding issue first and foremost. It's really important to look out for any warning signs that a young person you work with might be experiencing any form of abuse online or offline, and to escalate concerns using your school or settings safeguarding procedures. We will be holding a detailed webinar on this particular trending issue later in this series. Now, I want to acknowledge that we have just shared some very upsetting trends and statistics, but I do want to reassert that we firmly believe the online world has so much to offer young people, and there are so many fantastic organisations doing great work in this space. You are absolutely not alone in your work to keep young people safe online. And this is where I would like to hand over especially to our fantastic colleague from the Professionals Online Safety Helpline, Georgia. Can you tell us a bit more about what the helpline does and how everyone watching can get support should they ever need it?
Hi, my name's Georgia and I work on the Professionals Online Safety Helpline. We are a helpline that supports the children's workforce in the UK with any online safeguarding issues or online concerns. We were established in 2011 as being the helpline for the UK Safer Internet Centre, and we operate from South West Grid for Learning. We provide support, signposting, advice and mediation to help with resolving online issues that staff may face. That could be about themselves or it could be about the children in their care. Our main sort of strength as a support service is that we have contacts with industry partners, which means we have a route for reporting most content to social media platforms and sites, and we can often escalate that report to a real person to try and get content removed. We're mostly contacted by schools and education professionals, but we do support any professional that works with children and young people, so that could be police, social workers, or anything. The main issues that we see on the helpline relate to the sort of online reputation of schools and professionals, and also cyberbullying. So, for instance, a majority of the work that we're doing at the moment is supporting schools with reporting fake accounts that they might find on TikTok that are causing issues within the school. So this could be accounts that are using the school logo and the school name, and sharing cyberbullying videos or any other harmful content. So we're able to escalate those reports directly to TikTok for them to sort of review and remove, and we can sort of help with other social media platforms as well. But we also assist with a range of other issues, including sort of inquiries about filtering and monitoring, advice on sharing of nudes amongst young people, online harmful sexual behaviour, online dangerous challenges, anything that we can help with, really. So you can call us, our number's there, 0344 381 4772, or email us at helpline@saferinternet.org.uk. We're open Monday to Friday 10 till 4, and we'll always try and get back to you as soon as we can. We do ask that if someone is needing help with reporting a TikTok account or any content, that they do email us that to us. That's the sort of easiest way. But yeah, that's just an overview of what we do and how we might be able to help. So I will hand back to Amy.
Thank you so much, Georgia. It's such a great service that you offer. So to all those watching, kind of please do reach out to the Professionals Online Safety Helpline if you are ever in need of that additional support. Now, we have reached the end of the presentation section of this webinar, but we do have some time for questions. So I'm just having a little look, and it doesn't look like we've had any come in at this point. I'm going to ask my colleague Phoebe, who has been working away in the background, helping us with tech here, to share a link to a very brief evaluation survey with you all. It won't take more than 30 seconds or so, so please do click that link, fill that out now to kind of help us inform our future work. But other than that, I don't believe that we have any questions. I will give it just one more moment in case any last minute ones come in. I want to say a huge thank you to Phoebe for all her support in the background, managing the tech. A big thank you to Alison and to Georgia for their input on this webinar, and for sharing all of their expertise with us. And thank you so much to all of you who have joined and watched along. We hope that it's been useful. And if you do have any questions that spring to mind in the immediate time after this webinar, or even a little bit further down the line, you can also reach out to the education team at Childnet. You can see our email on the screen, education@childnet.com. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and do join us for the next webinar in our series. You'll be able to find more details about that on the Childnet social media channels. It'll be launching very soon. Thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye.